These items are going to be in your crash blood kit that's on top of the refrigerator in the lab. It's going to be your hotline tubing, your filtered blood Y-set tubing, saline, pressure bag, if you don't use the hotline, 3 biohazard bags to put your unused or your used unit of blood and tubing, along with your lab tubes. You have a pre-transfusion blood set, which includes the 2 purple and a red. Your post-transfusion, again, 2 purple and a red. And then 2 red tops for you to place your 3 pigtails in each one of the blood tubes that you take off the unit of blood that's your transfusion. You'll have also in the crash blood kit, you're going to have your forms in a page protector for your blood administration checklist and transfusion record. And then if by chance you have an adverse transfusion reaction, you will immediately stop using the blood administration checklist and move to this form that's also located in your crash blood kit.
Okay, from the blood administration kit in the bag, there are your checklist, which is 3 pages long, your patient consent form, and the Qualtex form for post-transfusion cross-match, and the form to reorder the 2 units of blood, and then of course your blood band. Okay, so now the doctor has ordered crash blood. So you're going to come to the laboratory, and in the laboratory you're going to grab your crash blood kit, which should be very near your blood bank refrigerator. You're going to grab a unit of blood from the refrigerator, and then you're also going to grab the blood bank notebook. Okay, so all the information that you need right here, and you have to sign it out. Remember, when you come into the laboratory, you should have a patient label with you, and you're going to go to the inspection and disposition portion of your blood bank notebook. You are going to find the unit of blood that you are going to give, and you're going to check the number, which is 030075, and this is 030075. You're going to put a patient label on the disposition side of the blood bank notebook. You're going to put the date and time. So today is 5/9/18 and the time is 12:50, and then your initials. Once you've done all that, you're going to still carry the patient labels with you. You're going to carry your unit of blood, and this whole package goes back to the patient room and does not leave the patient room until it is complete. Here's the crash blood. So you hand it off to the nurse.
Thank you, Rose. I have received my unit of blood. I'm going to pull out the blood administration checklist and transfusion record, along with the disclosure and consent for the administration of blood and blood products. I'm going to put a patient label on the blood administration checklist. I'm going to obtain an order from the physician. They have to place here on this little dash how many units they are ordering, physician signature, date, and time. This is the disclosure and consent for administration of blood or blood products. The patient will initial next to the I do, not to the do not. They will sign date and time. A family member can also do this. Please do not detain hanging blood if the patient or a family member is not present or unable to sign. Witness, that can be the nurse, title, print name, date and time. Physician also needs to print name, sign, date and time. I'm going to identify the patient by 2 identifiers, patient band, name,
Jane Doe.
Date of birth? What's your date?
11/25/90.
Okay. Make sure that my unit of blood, it's O positive. Make sure the expiration date. I'm just identifying the actual patient is getting blood. I'm also going to have another licensed professional identify the blood to the patient. That would include another nurse or a physician. I'm putting all the patient information on the label. I am going to take this off and place it on one of my red top tubes, which I would pull the 3 pigtails for off the unit of blood. I'm going to band the patient. And I'm going to take a label from the local blood bank center. I'll put that on my blood administration checklist and transfusion record. I would prefer to have 2 large bore needles placed, IVs placed in the patient. Off the blood that you have checked with the patient to verify, I'm going to take a label off. I'm going to place it on my blood administration checklist with the expiration date, which is on your unit of blood, 6/10/2020. That's going to be placed here. I'm going to sign and legibly sign date and time. Along with the second signature of a nurse or physician. I'm going to have either a tech or myself, I'm going to draw pre-transfusion blood, which includes 2 purple tops and a red top. I'm also going to set a pre-transfusion vital signs, which includes a temperature. How do you label your pre-transfusion blood tubes? You're going to use the pre-transfusion blood label. You're going to date your time and your initial, along with the patient label, along with a blood bank label on each of your purple tops and your red top. On your pigtail red top tube, I'm going to place the 3 pigtails in the red top. And this is where I place the blood band label that I wrote her name on, peeled off. It has the blood bank number on it. That also goes to lab. Please do not send your blood tubing, pre and post transfusion blood tubes, your pigtail, to a normal send out. This is to go with your local blood bank courier. Additionally, on your red top that contains the pigtails, you are going to take a label from the blood unit itself and place it on your red top with the pigtails, so it'll identify the unit to the pigtails itself. I'm going to then hang my blood. I'm going to prime it with the normal saline. I'm priming my Y set, which then connects to my hotline tubing. I'm priming that. Make sure all air bubbles are not existent in your tubing. I'm going to come to the patient and I'm going to disconnect the extension tubing because of the back release valve. It's important to take this extension and actually connect your hotline tubing directly to the angiocath, so to keep it from having extra pressure infusing. So I'm going to disconnect Well, if I can disconnect. And you're going to make sure you hold pressure here. And I'm going to connect my hotline tubing directly to the angiocath. I'm going to tape this down. This tubing is very heavy. It will pull on the patient's IV site if you do not. It's important that you document the time that you start your first unit and your second unit when that time comes. So I'm going to put the time on here. I'm going to initial, and then when the unit's finished, I'm going to put end time initial again. When I start my second unit, I'm going to put the time initials, end time and initials. Please document vital signs every 5 minutes for the first 15 minutes. Inform the patient of feelings of uneasiness, itchiness, hives, to try and communicate to me if there's any reasons for them to be having an adverse transfusion reaction. Now that I have my patient connected to my hotline, it is a one switch, on off. I'm going to flip the switch. It will transfuse at 5,000 milliliters per hour. You will watch the window here, and it should stay, the temperature should stay anywhere from 37 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. If it does not, if it exceeds 42 degrees Celsius, I am going to turn off the hotline and then continue to infuse the blood with a pressure bag. To remove my completed unit of blood with the tubing, place it in a biohazard bag. This is going to go into the blood bank refrigerator on the bottom shelf and be retained for 7 days, 1 week. Additionally, it would be a good idea to put a patient label on the outside of the biohazard bag that's containing your used unit of blood with the tubing that you're going to place in the blood bank refrigerator.
Okay, so our next process is that we need to fill out the paperwork for your blood center. Our blood center requires that we fill out everything on this form that is highlighted. Remember, you're going to have to write in here post-transfusion. The things that most people forget is that you also have to answer these questions. Do you have a signed consent form? Yes or no? Has a patient taken Darzalex in the last 6 months? Darzalex is a monoclonal antibody used to treat cancer, so you need to answer yes or no there. And these are hard to see, but down here on the bottom, they want the hemoglobin and hematocrit results if we have them. You're going to order a type and cross match. You're going to order it was filtered blood, and you're going to put down the number of units that were given. Was it 1 or 2 units? You're going to order it stat. You're going to fill out all the information down here for the facility and the phlebotomist. Remember, you've got 2 signatures that we need somebody to verify that, yes, that was a person that they drew.
Upon completion of the transfusion, you're going to place an armband sticker here and complete the compatibility testing requisition. A copy of all your blood transfusion administration paperwork is going to go with the courier upon picking up of the pre and post transfusion top pigtail blood tubes, so that they can have a record in case there is any problems with the transfusion. Another copy is going to be made of your blood transfusion paperwork to be sent with the patient upon transfer. Additionally, the originals will be retained so that these can be scanned into the chart upon patient departure. All the blood bank paperwork upon completion of transfusion will be placed back in the sleeve protector and placed back in the red blood bank binder in lab in the very back of the binder.
The other paper that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to replenish the blood that you just used. So you're going to order additional units. Although we always order O negative, many times they give us O positive, but we still order the O negative. You need the date, the time, the hospital number, and this is called in to your blood center and to replenish the units that you used and to pick up the blood tubes that were pre and post transfusion samples. So they're going to do it all at the same time, so they can drop off the new units and pick up for the post-transfusion cross-match.
In the event that there is an adverse transfusion reaction, you will immediately stop the transfusion, notify the regional lab director by phone, discontinue the blood administration checklist and transfusion record, and start completing an adverse transfusion reaction checklist form. The only difference that for blood work after a adverse reaction is that you must send a urine sample along with post-transfusion lab work.
If you have a transfusion, you need to notify your lab director. You can do it by text, by email, so that way we can review all the paperwork within 24 hours.
I hope you've enjoyed the blood transfusion video. We want you to understand that the transfusion of crash blood is only used for crashing critically ill patients to allow us time to transfer them to a higher level of care. Thank you and have a good day.
Bye, guys.